Imagine this. You come home from school to see a delicious cake waiting on your front porch. Excited, you bring the cake inside to share with you and your family. Little did you know that the cake was poisoned and would bring mass tragedy. This is a scenario much like what happened in 1250 BC in the area of Troy. During the Trojan War, many were deceived, resulting in the Greeks triumphing over the Trojans. The Trojan War holds vast significance in Greek mythology. Although its occurrence was many years ago, it holds much importance to this day. From the start of the Trojan War, which according to the 2020 article at Britannica.com was over 3,270 years ago, we have begun to forget the significant victory and the strategic planning that was put into place to achieve it. Like me, I am sure that many of you have heard about the story of the Trojan horse. This grand design has intrigued me for quite some time, and I have always wanted to learn more about it. First, I will discuss the different aspects of the Trojan War. Second, I will discuss the story of the Trojan horse and its entrance into Troy. Finally, I will discuss the impact that the Trojan horse and the Trojan War had on the future of these people. The Trojan War was a tragedy in its entirety and was influenced by a multitude of factors. An article published in 2009 on History.com depicts the story of the war. The war began as a result of the capturing of Queen Helen of Sparta. She was kidnapped by the Trojan prince Paris. Her husband Menelaus and his brother Agamemnon led an expedition to retrieve her. Over 1,000 ships fled over the seas to siege Troy to demand Helen's return. This war consisted of numerous clashes and confrontations amongst the Greeks and the people of Troy. Throughout these, many were killed, including the infamous deaths of the Trojan prince Hector and Achilles. These battles persisted for more than 10 years before the Greeks began their retreat from the camp. Now that we understand the beginning of the war, we can now discuss what ended it. Remaining after the retreat was a magnificent gift outside the gates of Troy. The gift is the most recognizable artifact of this war. This subversive device is most commonly referred to as the Trojan horse. The Trojan horse was the ultimating factor that determined the victory of the Greeks. As of November 2020, an informational piece from GreekMythology.com describes the dimensions of the structure itself. This large wooden horse was perceived to be a gift from the Greeks for the people of Troy. It was a masterpiece created by Appius, a master carpenter and pugilist. The structure is believed to have been about 10 feet wide and about 25 feet tall, meaning that about 30 to 50 warriors were able to crowd together inside, where they had to remain quiet for hours on end. The 2009 article from History.com later continues the story of the battle. After much contemplation, the Trojans accepted this gift and pulled it into the gates of their city. When night fell upon them, the trapdoor was opened, and out climbed the Greek warriors. Odysseus left the group with instructions on sacking Troy from within. The Greeks destroyed the city of Troy, which marked the end of the war. After the defeat of the Trojans, the Greeks began their journey back to their homeland. Throughout the war, Queen Helen's husband perished. She later returned to Sparta with Menelaus. Knowing the defeat of the Trojans will help us to better understand how each side was affected. Which leads me into the next point, which is the consequences that arose as a result of the Trojan War. The impact of this war was significant for both the Trojans and the Greeks. According to a piece from a National Geographic magazine, published by P. Album in August 2020, the resulting effect of the Trojan War was devastating for the Trojans. Troy was undeniably lost to Greece in the end. Although one, Aeneas, escaped the burning city to create a new Troy, which is now considered Rome. But according to a 2020 piece entitled Trojan War at classics.edu, the effect of the Trojan War on the Greeks was substantially better than that for the Trojans. Other than the returns of their queen, this victory led to not only a boost of morale, but also enforced the beliefs of Greek mythology. While both the Trojans and the Greeks lost numbers of their people, this war was won by the Greeks through the presentation of their adaptability and quick thinking skills. Each group was presented with challenges and life-altering decisions. In review, the effect of this war had a mass impact on both groups of people. Today, I first discuss the Trojan War in its entirety. Second, I discuss how the Trojan horse contributed to the Greeks' victory over the war. Finally, I discuss the effects and the aftermath of the Trojan War. With the usage of a decoy, the Trojan War was undoubtedly won by the ingenious structure built by the Greeks. By deceiving the Trojans, the Greeks were able to stand victorious after the aftermath of the Trojan War. While this tale may just be an ancient Greek myth, it is a great example of a group making a wrong decision. The Trojans' decision to allow entrance of this siege mechanism affected the outcome of many people's lives. This Trojan horse was used to cause the mass destruction of the city of Troy.